is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Oh, the Padres are so glad to be home after a three-city tour. They're back for Labor Day. Petco Park, and they welcome the Boston Red Sox for the first of three. It's a beautiful day in San Diego. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsello along with Mark Grant. Welcome to Padres Baseball. Well, today the Red Sox are here, and so is a familiar face, a guy who represented the Padres in the All-Star game, and Drew Pomerantz, and today he faces his old team.
You go back in time to spring training, Drew Pomerantz in Peoria. They were wondering if he was going to be a lefty out of the bullpen. Does he have a chance to crack the starting rotation? Well, he took the ball, and talk about opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity. Drew Pomerantz did just that, making the All-Star team and then being dealt. Now, the last 9 starts, the high ERA, he's allowed 9 home runs. He locates the fastball. John Farrell says recently he's been doing really well locating the fastball, but look out for the curveball from Drew Pomerantz.
Edwin Jackson got off to a very good start with the Padres. Lately, not so much.
Strike one. It sounds so cliche, but Edwin Jackson has to do that. You look at his starts over the course of him being a Padre. When he is 0-1, avoid the 2-1 count, and then 1-2, it puts the hitter on the defensive. He can still throw the fastball at 95, so hopefully that ERA comes down by locating that fastball early, because he throws pretty much everything, Don. If he can keep these Red Sox hitters off balance, because they love to pummel the baseball, this is a good hitting baseball team, Edwin Jackson really has to stay down in the zone and mix it up consistently for strikes.
It is a tough Red Sox lineup, a young Red Sox lineup. We'll delve into that when we come back. Julie Alexandria will check it out. Back after this.
Welcome back to Petco. Good to be back after a 12-day road trip. There you see one of Boston's fine young stars in Moncada. And either way you slice it, from Bogarts to Betts to, I mean, every single person on the Boston Red Sox, when you talk about these young stars, their manager, John Farrell, says that they put them in a position for both success presently and for the future. Take a listen.
We're in a pretty good position in terms of the now and the future, in terms of being able to win now. And then when you look at the number of starting players we have that are under 26 years of age, this is a very good team that's built for the long run.
Just to put it in perspective, the Red Sox currently have 6 players either on the DL or their active roster who are under the age of 23. When we come back, the Boston Red Sox are in town for a 3-game set. Pummel Pomeranz, a familiar foe, takes the mound when we return.
San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Ford of Escondido. You won't believe how low the prices go. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. By Pinnacle on the Park. Make your new home here. Visit pinnacleonthepark.com for details. By Rancho Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. No one saves you more than Rancho Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Now the Padres very glad to be home after a 9-game, 10-day excursion. Back to beautiful conditions of 69 degrees, nothing but blue skies above. And the Padres welcome the American League East Boston Red Sox in for 3, part of interleague play. And a very good crowd on hand here today, as you might imagine, on this Labor Day.
A lot of people anticipating this series when the calendar came out last year. It's going to be an electric atmosphere on this Labor Day. So if you're enjoying the day at home, you got the boob tube on, watching some big league baseball, welcome to Padres baseball.
Well, the umpiring crew today, Tony Randazzo has a plate, calling the balls and strikes. Bill Miller at first base, Kerwin Danley at second base, and Ramon DeJesus is the umpire at third. Torey Lovullo, the bench coach, out there exchanging lineups with Andy Green, and fans are glad the Padres are back home again after a long trip that, of course, started in Miami, went to Atlanta, and then, of course, wrapped up in Los Angeles. The Dodgers taking 2 out of 3 from the Padres over the weekend before the Padres got back. Good amount of Red Sox Nation here at the ballpark today, as you might imagine. And the Red Sox only visit of the year here to San Diego.
The last 3 road trips have been just brutal as far as the humidity, long, going back and forth, coast to coast. And what a refreshing time it was getting off that plane last night, or the bus rather, from LA, and seeing Petco Park being back home.
The lineups have been exchanged, and here come the Padres. Well, Edwin Jackson leading his team onto the field here today. Let's check out the Red Sox starting lineup. It is brought to you by Hyundai. Dustin Pedroia leading it off at second base with Brock Holt in left field batting second. Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, bats third with Mookie Betts, the right fielder, vying for MVP perhaps in the American League with 30 home runs and 100 runs batted in already. Hanley Ramirez at first base with Jackie Bradley Jr. in center. Yohan Moncada at third base has made his major league debut, already has 4 hits. Ryan Holiday doing the catching, batting eighth. And former Padres pitcher Drew Pomeranz bats out of the 9th spot.
Bringing you the scouting report for Edwin Jackson is Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Well, the rough outing last time for Edwin Jackson, just didn't have his crosshairs honed in on home plate. He throws the breaking ball early for strikes. He's good to go. He can be erratic at times, so early on outs, quick outs for Edwin Jackson, hopefully today.
Well, defensively behind Edwin Jackson today, the Padres defensively brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. It is Dickerson in left, Jankowski in center with Arcia around in right. Jan Hervis Solarte at third. Luis Sardinez at short. Adam Rosales at second. Will Myers at first. And Derek Norris doing the catching for Edwin Jackson. Well, beautiful conditions, as you can see, not a cloud in the sky as the Padres welcome the Red Sox here for 3. Many of the Red Sox, of course, were here for the All-Star game. Which was certainly a great day here in San Diego. John Farrell was not part of the contingent that came. And of course, this year having a very good year, the Red Sox start the day, a game back of the Blue Jays in the American League East. First pitch of the ball game from Edwin Jackson to Dustin Pedroia is in there for strike one, and we are underway. Pedroia hitting at .326 to start the day. 12 homers and 58 runs batted in. The former American League MVP. Well, look at strike 2. What have you seen or not seen from Edwin Jackson the last couple times out?
Not getting ahead strike 1 with either pitch. He has the ability. He's been around the block so many times. If he can get together that first pitch strike with either of his pitches, I think that sets up the whole at bat, and he can just put these hitters away early. So that's a huge at bat right here to Pedroia. 0-2 quickly. But he's such a good hitter. He has good command of the strike zone. We know that it's got to be that perfect pitch to try to have him enticed to swing and miss or hit the ball on the ground.
Edwin Jackson giving up 5 runs in 2 2/3 and a loss to the Braves in Atlanta his last time out. The outfield playing for Pedroia to go the other way. And that'll skip in. 2-2. Well, Andy Green's team happy to be home. Seems like a lot of road games lately.
Hey, the finish line is close, right? But that doesn't mean you go into cruise control. According to Andy Green, you got to go hard to that line no matter if you're 20 games out, if you're 2 games out, if you're tied for first. The mentality should be the same. And that's what he's trying to install in the minds of his Padres going down the stretch. It's tough.
Pedroia down the left field line, but a foul ball. You see a lot of these Red Sox take a lot of pitches, go deep in counts.
Yep. First in average, first in runs, first in hits, first in total bases, first in RBIs. Do I need to go on?
Talk about the runs. They have scored at least 100 runs in the first, third, fifth, and sixth innings. There's a team that scores a ton as Pedroia will take it low. Oddly enough, they lost a ball game yesterday, 1-0 to the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
On deck was Brock Holt. Red Sox batting here in the top half of the first inning.
Remember, he had him 0-2.
Swing and a miss, comes back to strike out Pedroia. Got him on the fastball.
I tell you what, Dustin Pedroia does not strike out a lot. That's only the 65th time that Pedroia has gone down swinging. going into this ball game, 527 at-bats. Edwin Jackson comes all the way back from being 0-2 to 3-2 and punches him out.
So 1 out brings up Brock Holt. Holt's a very versatile player, guy who can play the infield, play the outfield. He has done both, but gets a start in left field today. And he takes strike 1. Came up as a utility infielder, but has been moved around all over. Playing in his 80th game of the year today. 6 homers, 32 runs batted in. Sprays it foul and is down 0-2. Well, the Red Sox so far interleague play, they are 12-5 against the National League. Got to imagine that it'll be a pretty comfortable feeling for Drew Pomeranz today to be on the hill.
You know, so many things to talk about as John Farrell watches Brock Holt. You talk about getting in the pennant race. Drew Pomeranz traded.
Yep.
Getting more support offensively, so there's room for making mistakes on the hill. And talked to Drew before the game, and he said you couldn't be happier in Boston with the way things are going. We talked about him in our pregame show, in our open, about the struggles as far as the higher numbers. But John Farrell says with his fastball, it's been a pretty darn good pitch for him lately.
On the ground down the first baseline. Myers has got it. He'll take it to the bag for out number 2. Well, sharply hit, but Will was guarding the line. And able to retire Holt for the second out here of the first inning.
And Edwin Jackson, the professional pitcher that he is, over there to first base just in case.
Let's take a look at the keys to the game brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
No free passes for Edwin Jackson. Make them earn their way on. Sure, this team likes to hit. They got a great average. They've got some pop. Make them earn their way on and ruin the homecoming for all-star left-hander Drew Pomeranz.
So 2 down here in the first inning brings up Xander Bogaerts. Xander batting in the 3 spot. And he'll take strike 1 over the inside corner. Bogaerts from Aruba. Part of the 2013 World Champion Red Sox. It was the year that he burst onto the scene as a 21-year-old shortstop. That is strike 2.
Did it surprise you how quickly he rose to make dividends at the big league level?
It did.
Yeah.
And he's much more mature than you would imagine for a guy his age. Tremendous guy.
I think that goes a long way. There's something to add to that. Being in a market like Boston, you better be a little bit more mature for your age, I think. Right?
Reach out and pokes it foul. Very smart. Speaks 4 languages.
Come on.
No, he does. Legit. David Ortiz in this interleague game, not in the starting lineup. But he's got a lot of sunglasses if you need any.
See what happens when you're good kids? You get a case of sunglasses.
Yes. Not just 1, not 2, like 7 to choose from. Big Papi found some that he likes. Look out. That one almost hit him. David's actually got a guy for his sunglasses. Guy handles the sunglasses.
Just follows him around.
Yeah, he's a sunglass guy. So he's all set. Decided to go with that.
Oh, a little smell good?
A little call. He always smells good.
Yeah?
Yes. Used to sit diagonally from me on the charter. Smells fantastic. Now you sit diagonally and don't smell so good. Where you sit is where he sat.
Really?
When I was on the Red Sox charter, yeah.
I'm going to have to do some cologne shopping.
Nice smell to him. You kind of smell gross. 2 down. Bogaerts with that open stance. And a line drive right to Solarte at third base. So Edwin Jackson with a good start. A 1-2-3 first inning. The Padres are coming up. Now back at Petco Park as we look at some of the storylines in this series, and 5-10 all-time versus the Red Sox are the Padres over the years in interleague play. And Drew Pomerantz's career against the Padres, 0-4 with an 8.10 ERA. Going to be on the mound here for the Red Sox today. And of course, in interleague this season, the Red Sox have done very well, 12-5. Padres are 5-12, the reverse. And had a good 1-2-3 first inning, did Edwin Jackson. Here come the Padres, brought to you by Toyota. Jankowski in center, Sardinia's at short, Myers at first, Solarte at third. Norris does the catching with Dickerson at left, Rosales at second, and Arcia in right. Jankowski trying to bunt his way on, and he will. Nicely done, and a stumble by Drew Pomerantz heading over there trying to pick up that ball. And Jankowski showing off his speed, little drag bunt to get it started.
You can almost smell that one coming, and Travis Jankowski, if he places that ball perfectly, that's an automatic big league knock. And it's always in the back of the minds of the opponents, because you saw Moncada at third base well on the grass, and that's one of those perfectly placed to where Pomerantz couldn't get there and get a handle. Pedroia was rushing in on that one, and Ramirez had to stay at close at first base.
Well, Hanley Ramirez over to check on Drew Pomerantz, make sure he's okay. Took a little tumble.
Yes, he did.
As he went over to try to field that, with everybody also trying to pursue it. And we'll see Pomerantz here. Kind of roll the ankle. No, not really.
I'm wondering about the fall on the shoulder, if possibly, if he fell on the, or did he tuck and roll on the right side?
Soft toss over to check on Jankowski, lead not large, and Hanley Ramirez over there. Seems strange to see him at first base, first year.
Replacing the divot that Drew Pomerantz made on the tumble over there towards first base.
Well, Sardinia is hitting up in the order again today. Led off a couple of times in the Dodgers series. And went after it, kind of punching at it on a bunt bid. Sardinia has led off 2 of the days with Jankowski hitting down in the order, but Travis back up on top, and 29 thefts on the year for Jankowski.
Well, Drew Pomerantz doesn't have the greatest move, so if they're going to be going, it's going to be on that first move of Drew Pomerantz.
In the air towards center field, back goes Jackie Bradley Jr. He's got a beat on it, makes the catch right on the edge of the warning track out there in left center. Well, here are the Red Sox defensively with Brock Holt in left, Jackie Bradley Jr. in center, Mookie Betts in right, Yohan Moncada at third base with Xander Bogaerts at short, Dustin Pedroia at second base with Hanley Ramirez at first, and the catching for the Red Sox is Brian Holiday.
This team can get to the ball, they can catch the ball, 69 errors. The leader in that category with the fewest errors is the Houston Astros at 63, so the Red Sox are right there.
1 out, runner at first, and Will Myers the batter. Outfield deep and straight away on Myers. Another check here on Jankowski. Now Jankowski, of course, playing center field in behind Drew Pomerantz a lot of the first half of the season.
Saw his the action of his pitches off out of the hand of Pomerantz, so he got a pretty good idea.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, how much do you pay attention to his move when you're playing behind
him? Oh, he knows
him?
his move. He knows his move, absolutely. Like I said earlier, it's not the best move, and if Travis doesn't know each and every little intricate detail about that, believe me, Tarek Brock is all over it. Eddie Rodriguez, the coaching staff, they're there to help and give little tidbits on when he comes over to first or when he goes to the plate.
Jankowski has not tried it yet. There he goes. Guessed wrong, and the Red Sox are going to get him. So from Ramirez to the shortstop Bogaerts, they apply the tag. Jankowski is hanging out there. He feels like he beat it out.
Yeah, the throw is high. Now this is where, if you're going, you commit. You want to put it on Hanley Ramirez to throw a strike to second base. Oh, you know what? This might be challengeable.
Yep.
I think his hand might have been in there.
Andy Green looking to Mark McGuire. And the tag on the backside.
Also, did you see what Travis did on that run? Did you see him kind of belly in towards the baseline to second base?
Oh, they're not going to challenge. But that is close.
It is close.
I might have taken a chance there. So 1, 2, 3 to 6. The caught stealing clears the base paths as Jankowski made a bid for his 30th theft of the year. Now Myers will ground one to deep third. Moncada's got a hose. Lets it go and gets him at first base. That's impressive. So the Padres are retired in the first. We're done with one on this Labor Day with no score. Petco Park in San Diego as Moncada, very impressive with that arm. We told you about it at third base.
You know what's impressive about this play is that, he reads the ball off the bat. It's a two-hopper, but he plays it back. Okay, he reads it. Okay, back up. Let's play the big hop. And then look how quickly. It's a proven fact. A glove can come up quicker from the ground to the sky than from the sky to the ground. So he plays it down, then up, and then shows off that cannon all the way over to first base, firing a strike. John Farrell says this kid's the whole package.
There's Mookie Betts, who is the whole package this year, has been tremendous, an all-star, and of course an MVP candidate as he stands in and takes a hack at that first offering from Edwin Jackson. Well, the numbers for Betts coming in: 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, and a .318 average. Pretty impressive.
That is really impressive.
I broke into the big leagues as a second baseman, really. He's moved to the outfield and offensively has been tremendous.
Well, look at him get to that ball and airmail it over the monster in Boston. Pitch was up there, pulling it deep to left center field. So great coverage of the plate, and look at that last pitch was down and away and he crushed it. So good plate coverage all the way around with some added pop.
Well, the guys that he is in the mix with as far as MVP conversation goes is Altuve hitting at a cool .346. Josh Donaldson, who's always in the conversation. Manny Machado, another solid year for the O's, and Mike Trout seems his name always in the conversation as well, year in and year out. 2-2 to Betts with Hanley Ramirez to follow and Jackie Bradley Jr. Edwin Jackson had a good 1-2-3 first inning. And a good start to the second inning. Strikes out Betts looking. Second K for Edwin Jackson.
Oh, he's got the feel. If he's got the feel of that four-seam fastball away, boy, Derek Norris doesn't even move his glove, and he just struck out one heck of a hitter just above the knee. That's a great shot of the great located fastball away.
So one down brings up Hanley Ramirez. Hanley, of course, longtime shortstop, moved to the outfield, the left field thing did not work for him, and now has found a home at first base. Had a good season.
And first base isn't the easiest position either.
Will Myers has found that.
Yep.
Transition from an outfielder to a first baseman.
I remember Mark Sweeney and I and you having discussions about that. It's not just a position where you're, hey, we want your bat in the lineup, so we'll just stick you at first. No, there's a lot going on.
Tap foul, 1-1. Edwin Jackson with 2 early strikeouts in this game.
To me, here's the pitch of the at-bat, 1-2 or 2-1. And I know I talk about that quite a bit, but Don, if you're a pitcher, you want to pitch 1-2 rather than 2-1, especially to a lineup like this.
How important is strike one?
You know what? It is so important because the pitcher can do so much, especially if you can locate your pitches with regularity. Falling behind 1-0 is not fun, but if you're that pitcher, and I go back to guys like Maddox and Smoltz and guys like that who have the pinpoint control, okay, they can bounce back to go 1-1. So now it's almost like as if you're back to even. Starting a new at bat.
Cleans this out, fouls it off into the seats.
Strike 2. Right?
A loud strike 2. Hanley with 20 home runs, 88 runs batted in. There's Jackie Bradley Jr. waiting on deck. He was also here for the All-Star game. Into center field and a base hit for Hanley Ramirez. So after retiring the first 4 in a row, Edwin Jackson gives up a single here to Hanley Ramirez.
Well, look at how long the barrel of that bat stays level in the strike zone. Why? Because that pitch is up. And he gets on top of it. Sends it right back where it came from.
So 1 out, 1 on, and here is Jackie Bradley Jr. 273 with 22 home runs, 77 runs batted in. One of the game's best defensive outfielders. There's never been any question about that. The only question was he going to hit? And towards the end of last year it did, and this year has. An All-Star, as I mentioned earlier, and it's here in San Diego in July.
Heavy on the right side. The shift against Jackie Bradley Jr.
On the ground to first, and Myers will tag first. This becomes a tag play, and they'll try to run down Hanley Ramirez. Rosales will apply the tag, and they do. So a double play will wrap up the top of the second inning, getting it a half done without a score.
Yeah, I've been watching him on TV enough lately, so I've seen him in a Red Sox uniform. He's definitely a tough challenge for us. Obviously an all-star for us in the first half of the season, and there is a way to attack Drew, but if it were that easy, you know, he wouldn't have been an all-star. So there's stuff that we're going to try to zero in on, focus on, try to take advantage of, and it's up to us to go out and execute it.
A couple of Padres players told me that they consulted with Derek Norris, the catcher, of course, to brush up on their Drew Pomerantz acumen. And Sox manager John Farrell told me that he understands there'll be some extra adrenaline and energy for Drew Pomerantz as he faces his former team for the first time, but he hopes that he channels it and also uses the fact that he's in familiar territory to his advantage.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. I was going to ask you about that, bud. I mean, it's got to be a very comfortable feeling for him to be on this mound.
Yeah, the cat and mouse game continues here. Are the hitters going to look for his strengths? Is he going to try to change things up a little bit? There's a curveball there.
That's out in right. With the sunglasses on, puts it away.
One thing that I would look at is take a look at the fastball. It's pretty straight for Drew Pomerantz, so if he makes a mistake, you jump all over it.
Our Arco top-tier player profile and the splits for him with the Padres and with the Red Sox. Certainly better with the Padres in a great first half. The 2.47 ERA jumps out at you with the Padres. And only the 184 opponent batting average.
And when I look at those numbers, I'll bet you he's gotten hurt in a lot of located fastballs up in the zone and hanging the curveball. Because we saw him here in San Diego, that curveball was devastating. John Farrell said when he's got the old snapdragon working, yeah, he could be devastating.
He kind of throws it a little bit differently,
yes,
as we saw. I think you always do an outstanding job of explaining how it is he holds his curveball.
Well,
and I know you enjoy doing it too. So I'm hoping they'll do it for you.
It hurts my finger, to be quite honest.
Really?
Yeah. His fingernail on his index finger is actually on the baseball. Then he just flicks it. Doesn't turn his wrist.
Well, Derek Norris batting here.
I know we've talked about this before, but the fingernail is on the baseball like that, and then he throws it like that. He actually follows through like that. It's really, really odd.
In the air to shallow right center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. coming in, puts it away for the second out. Our Ram Trucks tools of the trade focuses on
Drew Pomerantz. We talked about the curveball. We talked about the fastball. How about the curveball? That's got great location at 2 strikes. He backdoors it. When you're thinking about the curveball and then he locates the fastball, even though he missed there, it was up and away. He still gets away with it. And the one thing about the curveball that, you know, he can bury it. He can throw it early for a good strike and then make you expand the zone by burying it. Just like a fastball. Up and down fastballs, well, up and down curveballs as well.
Well, 2 down here in the second inning. Alex Dickerson batting out of the 6th spot today for the Padres. Well, Pomerantz, beginning of spring training, was vying for a spot in the rotation. You think about it. He and Colin Ray were kind of the back end of the rotation, battling to be part of it. Of course, you had the big 3 to begin the year, and Tyson Ross, James Shields, Andrew Kashner.
And then every team deals with, the majority of teams, with injuries, right? There's always an injury. Somebody's going to miss a start here or there. He's used to starting, we all know that. In his days with the Colorado Rockies and the Padres, mostly out of the pen with these swinging A's.
I remember talking to Pomerantz around the All-Star break and saying how thankful he was getting the chance to start every 5 days with the Padres, because he really hadn't had that in the past between his time with the Rockies and the A's.
Kind of a short strider, Drew Pomerantz, and traditional high 3/4 release point. Not really a lot of deception because his arm does get out there. Not a short armor.
Dickerson aboard here with 2 down in the second inning. It'll bring up Adam Rosales. Pretty easy first inning, 5-pitch first inning. With 2 down, Dickerson at first, and Rosales digging in. They get the start at second base. Ryan Schimpf on the bench today to begin the game for the Padres. 89th game that Rosales has participated in on the year. It's been a while since the Red Sox have been here to Petco Park. I'm going to go back to 2007.
It was that long ago?
I believe so.
It didn't seem like that long ago.
You guys went to Boston. I remember seeing you and Dick Enberg.
Wow.
And I remember thinking to myself, who is this clown with Dick Enberg?
No, you thought it was Cape Cod Day, and hey, rightfully, homemade sign, Don Ursula, we miss you in Boston.
Thank you very much,
sir. It's been great, the reception that you have gotten from the Red Sox Nation here at Petco Park.
People have been great. It's been awesome. They've been great here today, and I appreciate it very much. It's great seeing everybody here today, and great being here in San Diego. Beautiful day here today in San Diego.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but do you need the name on the back, though? You can't.
No, that kind of changes it because he didn't have it. But you know what? That's probably one of the most, still to this day, one of the most popular sold Red Sox jerseys is Yaz. To this day. And it should be. The Hall of Famer. Triple Crown. Pitch in there for a strike. Took a long time for Miguel Cabrera to do that.
Yeah,
in between Triple Crowns.
Oh, yeah.
From Yaz to Cabrera.
Right. Yep.
Short lead at first for Dickerson with 2 down as Rosales waits on a 1-2 pitch.
Quite a run of left fielders, right? Ted Williams.
Absolutely.
Yaz. Jim Ed.
Jim Rice, yeah.
I love Jim Ed.
Jim Ed's still doing pre and post. Did some games with Jim Ed over the years. Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Line to center, and that's going to get in for a base hit. Dickerson will get to second. Adam Rosales with a single to center field. Second Padres hit of the day. And San Diego has something going here with 2 down in the inning.
The first pitch of this at bat, Adam Rosales fouled it straight back because it was a high pitch. And this one right here, he goes up top and stays on top of it. And he stays on just almost like we saw last inning. Hanley Ramirez, that barrel of the bat staying within the zone for a long time. Level swing and sending it right back up the middle. That's good hitting by Adam Rosales. Hey, he swings hard. So if he gets jammed or off the end of the bat, there's a good chance he could dump it out into the outfield.
2 on, 2 down. Oswaldo Arcia. Arcia getting the start here against a left-hander. This season with 4 different major league teams. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Well traveled within 1 year.
Dave Kingman, 4 teams 1 year. Back, I think it was like 77. One of those teams being the Padres.
In the dirt, and it's 1-1. Alex Dickerson at second base, Rosales at first, 2 down here in the second. Edwin Jackson waiting on deck. Padres batting here in the second inning. And a fly ball down the left field line. Moncada and Holt over as far as they can go, but that's well back into the seats.
Speaking of Jim Rice, Bruce Hurst came to the Padres via free agency from the Red Sox.
Yep.
So we're talking ball on the bench one day, spring training. And I go, hey, what was Rice like? He goes, Jim Ed? And I go, Jim Ed, what are you talking about? He goes, James Edward Rice.
Yeah.
He's known as New England as Jim Ed.
Jim Ed.
What a great nickname to have.
Now part of a great outfield, and of course Freddie Lynn in center, Dwight Evans in right. Of course, Fred Lynn lives here in San Diego. Look out. Watch your face, Oswaldo Arcia. He buzzed the tower there.
He most certainly did. And this was, that's a little too close for comfort.
Watch your face.
Watch the soup coolers.
Watch it. Watch your chiclets.
Hey, breaking ball away here.
2-2. And he slaps it foul off to the left. Fastball instead.
Yep. Doubled up on the heater. You know, I'm guessing a lot of pitchers, or a lot of hitters rather, after getting buzzed like that, you'd think, okay, he's going to go soft down and away. But I think it's a good idea to double up, because if he is looking breaking ball, he's going to be tardy on that fastball.
All right, what does that stat tell you? Runners in scoring position, 142 for Pomeranz. Bearing down.
Bearing down. Good quality pitches when he needs them. We mentioned the defense too. That helps as well, right?
Runners at first and second, 2 down. Arcia again fouls off another. And a healthy diet of fastballs right now for Drew Pomeranz. Red Sox with a third best record since the beginning of July in Major League Baseball. And again, just a game back of the Blue Jays in the American League East. 2-2. And that was a close pitch, but because Holiday was kind of on the move and it was a mislocation, didn't get it.
Wanted it down away. Left it down and in. A good take by Arcia.
Dickerson at second. Rosales at first. 2 down here in the Padres' second inning. Runners on the move. And that is strike 3. Arcia took it, knew it. Takes with him the first K for Drew Pomeranz. We played 2 without a score. For great moments in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. September the 5th, 1918 at Comiskey Park. Babe Ruth of the Red Sox 6 hits the Cubs in the opening game of the World Series. 1-0 in the Fall Classic game. Started earlier than usual due to the World War I, as played at the White Sox home field rather than Weigman's Park, which was renamed Wrigley Field in 1926 due to the larger seating capacity. I have got to be honest with you, Bud. I've never heard of Weigman Park before.
Yeah, you know, if you look inside your Chicago Cubs media guide, there's a history there of the Chicago Cubs. It's under the history section.
Okay.
Yeah, you might want to give it a look.
All right, I'll take a look sometime when we play the Cubs again. Mr. Joliet, Illinois, proudest son.
Hey, speaking of smelling good and smelling bad.
Which you don't, yeah.
We talked about Big Papi with the cologne and some smell good. How about that footage we just saw of Babe Ruth? How'd you like to stroll through that clubhouse after a doubleheader and take a whiff of those unis back in the day?
Yeah, a little thick. Got the flannel thing
no
going
AC,
on there.
You got the wool unis. Good luck.
Yeah, and a hot day during the course of the summer. Not good. Doubleheader in St. Louis.
A little ripe. You see the Bambino kicking it back in his locker, throwing back a couple social sparklers.
Absolutely.
I wish I could go back.
You were in the wrong era, my friend. You should have been on the trains.
Oh, that'd be so much
a lot
fun.
better, yeah. Moncada, Holiday, and Pomerantz. 7, 8, and 9 for the Red Sox, and Moncada fouls it off to the left out of play.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Edwin Jackson goes about pitching to Moncada. You know, there's a lot of hype. He can run, he can hit, he can throw, he can do all this and that, which is fine, but he can be pitched to.
Just called up on Friday, making the jump from Double-A Portland with the Sea Dogs. Reached base in each of his first 3 major league games. Multi-hits in his last 2.
Let's see how disciplined he is 0-2 and see if Edwin Jackson makes him chase for something out of the zone.
Outfield straight away on Moncada. Edwin Jackson with 2 pretty good innings to start the day. Had a 1-2-3 first, gave up a single in the second, but then got the double play. And that'll get away, but not to fret. 2-2. Moncada in his second game with 2 for 5. As the Red Sox were in Oakland before arriving here. And pretty good production early on for Moncada. One of 2 Cuban-born players that the Red Sox had signed. Moncada being one and Rusney Castillo the other. Not worked out quite as well, to say the least. Did he go? No. On to Jesus, third base umpire said he didn't offer.
Hey, very, very close on the pitch, down and in. A great breaking ball thrown by Edwin Jackson, and oh my gosh, if he hits it, it's a double. He didn't go, really?
Really? I think he kind of did.
Goodness gracious. You got to bang him on that one.
Payoff pitch. And a swing and a miss.
Struck him out twice.
Strikes out on the fastball.
Went back to the heater. 4-seamer away, just below the belt buckle. Good pitch by Edwin Jackson.
One down here in the 3rd inning. It'll bring up Brian Holiday. Batting out of the 8th spot at 218. And a swing and a miss for strike 1. The breaking ball again from Jackson. Time with both the Rangers and the Red Sox this year for Holiday. Center fielder Travis Jankowski over towards right center. Good sized gap in left center. And that'll be tap foul.
How about that catch he made the other day at Dodger Stadium?
Pretty impressive. Went a long way.
Wow. He was playing on the shortstop side of second base, pinching that gap a little bit, and he went all the way over towards the left center field gap to haul it in. And that's a shocker. Freddie's dirty.
Number sent foul, still 0-2.
How about this little nugget? Edwin
got?
Jackson's been 0-2 to 5 of the 8 hitters he's faced.
We talked about how important it is to get out ahead, especially against this Red Sox lineup. Flirted with a no-hitter in his Padres debut on this mound.
6 of 8. First pitch strikes.
Oh no, the pointer is out. 0-2. And a swing and a miss. Back-to-back case for Jackson. 4 and all. 2 down in the inning.
You know, judging by swings like that, okay, that was a slider down and away. Seems like some of the hitters, you know, they're thinking maybe fastball because he got Moncada on the fastball, and then the slider away there got him out in front. Good, not even close.
Two down here in the third, and Pomeranz coming up. Pomeranz get a chance to hit with the Padres for the trade deadline, and he'll take the strike over the outside corner. 4 strikeouts for Edwin Jackson through 2 2/3 innings. Hey, Edwin Jackson, you look at this lineup today. I mean, how do you approach this lineup when you're trying to devise a game plan?
I think breaking stuff early in the count is a very, because this is a fastball hitting team. They wouldn't be putting up the averages and the numbers and the home runs and whatever, the RBIs, if they didn't like the fastball. They jump on the fastball.
Strike 3 call.
If you keep throwing fastballs like that on the corners, you're going to have success against this team.
Moncada, Holiday, Pomeranz, all down by way of the K. Scoreless through 2.5 from San Diego. They'll get a game break. Miguel Cabrera taking it the other way off. Chris Sale. Not 1, but 2 for Cabrera. Went the other way, and this one he pulls. His 300 and 301st home run.
A couple of good pitchers going today, huh? Verlander and Chris Sale.
We'll talk about triple crowners, and it took a long time. 1967 through 2012, there were none. But Miguel Cabrera able to do it 2012 for the Detroit Tigers.
That's incredible. You know what? I look at that. It's got to be the evolution of the specialty of bullpens.
Maybe. Harder to do.
That's one way of looking at it.
Yep.
Nobody throws below 90 now, or
right.
95, I should say, out of the bullpen. Very few, I should say. But it's tough to hit now.
The last half of the third inning here, Edwin Jackson, who's pitched very well to start the day so far. First time he's been at the plate, 4 for 14 on the year, 14th Major League season. And Jackson thought about it, but holds up.
How about the Tigers winning 10 out of their last 13?
Making a run. 5.5 back of the Indians to start the day. But more about the wild card than anything else. It's going to be a fun month, and the Red Sox are right in the mix of all of it in the American League East. Travis Jankowski, then Luis Sardinez. There's a pop-up, foul ground. Holiday coming back as far as he can, no play. Jackson, a .286 hitter this year. Outfield straight away on the Padres pitcher. And another foul backing out of play.
He takes a hack, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't get cheated on his swings. His career against the Red Sox, he's made 14 appearances, 2-4 in his major league career, pitching wise. Now he grounds one foul outside of third. Earlier this year, Andy Green used him as a pinch hitter.
Yep.
Gives you an idea what kind of hitter he could be.
8th pitch coming, this at bat. Hey, setting the tone. Hopefully he can get on base for Travis Jankowski.
Beautiful day at Petco Park in San Diego. And that is strike 3. I guess. Generous call from Tony Randazzo, home plate umpire. That appeared to be outside.
Let's take a look. Curveball. Oh, it's on the corner. Corner of 16th and Imperial. He got a call there. Hey, just so he calls it the same way for Edwin Jackson.
Yeah.
If he's calling it both ways,
it's okay.
You have no problem with that.
Now one down here in the inning brings up Travis Jankowski. Tries the bunt again.
Oh, look at you, Freddie.
And it works. Bunted his way on in the first. Does it again in the third. This one did perfection. You got Ramirez, Pedroia, Pomerantz all chasing after the same bunt.
I don't think Travis Jankowski could have placed 2 bunts in a row more perfectly than he did the first at-bat and there. Because you mentioned, Don, okay, Pomerantz is up. Pedroia is crashing. Hanley, and it might be one of those plays where, you know, communication problem. Hanley probably should stay at the bag there because Pedroia was busting in big time, and he's good enough to make the old quick flip to first base. He's got a better chance.
So 1 out, 1 on, and it brings up Luis Sardinez. He's showing bunt as well. Pulls it back and takes a ball.
He did that his first time up as well after Jankowski bunted for a base hit to lead off the game.
Blue Jays have lost today to the Yankees 5-3. It's good news for the Red Sox. Again, they trail the Blue Jays by a game. The 1-0 is high. Outfield straight away right now for the Red Sox, as in the 3rd straight inning, the Padres have gotten at least a base runner on. They have stranded 2 so far through the first 2. Swing and a miss by Sardinez. A couple of different bunts today for Jankowski.
Yeah, the 2 essentials of being a bona fide leadoff hitter: bat control and speed. On the left in the first inning, look, placed perfectly. Hanley Ramirez stayed at the bag. They couldn't field it. Now on this second one in the 3rd inning, look at all 3 of them are going after it. Pomerantz, Pedroia, Hanley Ramirez. Somebody's got to stay at the bag, especially with the aggressive style of Dustin Pedroia trying to get that bunt.
In the air to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. out there waiting. He'll put it away for out number 2. Jankowski bluff didn't go. And he'll remain at first base with now 2 down. So 2 away, and that'll bring up Will Myers. Myers grounded out to Moncada at third base in the first inning, 0 for 1. A breeze from left to right across the outfield. Not a huge breeze, but there is one today. Not a cloud in the sky as the Padres and Red Sox open up a 3-game series. You calling me out? You saying there's clouds? What are you pointing at?
I was doing my best to try to
find me a cloud.
I was trying my best to.
You were looking hard, but there's nothing up there. Nope, that's blue sky right there.
What a beautiful day. This is great.
Blue sky and sunshine on this Labor Day. Toss to first and back is Jankowski. I thought that there was a pointer sighting moments ago earlier.
Oh yeah, the pointer it'll sneak up on you.
I have a question for you. Why is it that when the professor does games with you, Dick Enberg, you never see the pointer? And anytime I do a game, you break out the pointer. I don't understand. And the pointer's gone. Somebody lost the pointer.
Oh, did you steal the pointer?
I did not steal the pointer, but no, I didn't. I'd love to. I think it's on the floor there, fatty.
Let me get my gut out of the way so I can bend over and pick it up.
If you can move your stomach.
Like this.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Stuffed up over there, Don Coolio?
Got a little allergy going on today. I got it in Atlanta, and it's carried on over here back home.
Really?
So I don't know what's going on. Runner takes off. Pitch is a strike throw down, and Jankowski has stolen base number 30 of the year.
Nice.
Tried it earlier, was caught trying to steal. This time he gets into scoring position.
That left-hander, Pomerantz used the abbreviated move. And look at Pedroia picking it and then going back down. But by that time, Travis stays on the bag, stay on the bag. Foot and hand are on second base. And that's a nice round number now for Travis Jankowski. Stolen base number 30.
One-two pitch. And that'll run inside. 2-2. Jankowski now in scoring position with 2 outs in the inning. Two bunt singles in this game for Jankowski. And a liner caught at second base by Pedroia. Went up and reeled it in. Timed the lead perfectly. Robs Myers of a hit and perhaps the Padres of a run. We played 3 from San Diego without a score. Into the top of the 4th inning. Edwin Jackson's been very good through the first 3.
He has got the crosshairs working for him. That one got away a little bit. That was the strikeout to Pedroia. But Mookie Betts doesn't strike out a lot. Down and away. Here's another 4-seamer. And once he gets that feel early, he can make short work of these Boston Red Sox hitters who are hitting the ball extremely well this year. I think it looks like he's locked in early on.
Dustin Pedroia leading it off here for the Red Sox. Pedroia getting a second look at Edwin Jackson. Jackson with 5 Ks. Max Sweeney joins us.
Hey, this is a wicked awesome series right here.
Boston, Massachusetts own Mark Sweeney. And a chopper towards third. Solarte on the run. And in time to get Pedroia. Been on the road a long time. How you been?
I've been great. How about you guys? Good to be back home.
Oh, great to be back home. Long trip.
That's I always wonder why they can't change the schedules in the second half of the season and not have 3 city trips.
Well, it's interleague. Doesn't interleague mess everything up? And plus the unbalanced schedule. I mean, there's a lot going on there to try to make it work to where you're going on a road trip and you can hit 3 cities. If it is a 3-city trip, to where it's generally.
Yeah, I think all the players
close.
would be fine with 3 city trips at the beginning of the year. The second half of the year really difficult, especially the road trips. For example, Boston, Oakland here, Toronto.
Yeah,
makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Pitch outside.
I've contended all along. I really like the balanced schedule, to where you go out of the division twice.
I did too.
Rather than just once.
I think there's too many games in the division.
I think so too.
18, 19, it's too much. And of course, if you're in the American League East, even harder, having to face the Torontos, the Baltimores on a regular basis.
Ooh.
Did he go? No, says Ramon de Jesus.
He got squeezed on the pitch. That was a nice breaking ball that caught the bottom part of the zone. I guarantee he went. Oh my gosh.
He's right again. I'm with you again.
They go all the time.
They do?
That's a pitcher speaking.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
2-1 pitch. And up the middle off the bat of Brock Holt to find its way into center field. Second Red Sox hit, and Brock Holt aboard at first base.
After the check swing, this looks like a little cut fastball, Mark Sweeney, and the cut fastball. You know, you try to get into the label. What do you see here at Holt's swing?
Well, you see Holt, and he works his hands inside the baseball to get the barrel to it. You see that impact of the barrel, fighting it up the middle. I thought you made a really good point, Mark, the last inning of what Edwin Jackson has to do. He has to pitch backwards when it comes to a fastball hitting team. He has to have success with his secondary stuff.
But Mark, you know, with many times you hit, you get a guy who's, let's say, and I'm just throwing it out there, guy who throws mid-90s. He's got a really, really good secondary pitch. Maybe even a decent average third pitch. If he throws that pitch over early for a strike,
it always
does so much.
It puts so much in your mind of what you have to try to cover. And eliminating pitches has a lot to do with success for hitters, but if you can't eliminate, it's going to be a guessing game all day long.
Xander Bogaerts lined out to Solarte at third base. Padres fans, Red Sox fans battling here at Petco Park on this Labor Day. As far as shortstops go, Xander Bogaerts ranking high as they check on Brock Holt at first base.
Isn't that nice when you see those stats and you see a 23-year-old shortstop?
We were talking about a little bit earlier. At 21, he was in the World Series and winning the World Series with the Red Sox in 2013.
He'll grow up pretty quickly, won't you?
Guess so.
And you start expecting it each and every year, right?
(2-0). That's his face out of the way on the breaking ball. 3-0. We'll see what adjustments the Red Sox make offensively here against Jackson second time through.
When you think about that, Don, and how good they are offensively, you know they make in-game adjustments better than most.
That'll drop in there for a strike.
There's so many adjustments you have to make as a hitter. You take in consideration the home umpire's strike zone, what he's going to give, being aware of what's going on, and also communication from your teammates.
Brock Holt with a walking lead at first base, one down here in the inning. Ball 4 and a close pitch. Red Sox have 2 on with 1 away. Let's check in with Julie.
Well, guys, talking the 3100 club here, Mookie Betts joins Jim Rice and Ted Williams as the 3rd Red Sox player to hit 30 home runs and 100 RBIs before the age of just 25. And this season, he joins his teammate, Big Papi, in that same feat. And the last time the Sox had 2 players able to do so on the same team was 2006, again with David Ortiz and Manny just being Manny Ramirez. And looking around baseball, the only other 2 players that also share that club, Nolan Arenado of the Rockies and the Blue Jays' Edwin Encarnacion.
Pretty impressive, Julie, no doubt about it. The numbers are amazing, and we saw many of these Red Sox here at the All-Star game this year, Petco Park, and of course David Ortiz in his final season, rallied around by all of his American League teammates. Betts to left, Dickerson over towards the line for the 2nd out of the inning. It's a big out right there. Betts retired.
Got in on him just enough. I mean, the video we were looking at earlier, it showed home runs where he could really turn on that fastball. Got in enough there for the fly ball to left. Bringing the hands through, trying to get that big barrel on the bat, just down by the label.
So 2 down on this beautiful day. Still no clouds up there, Mark Grant. No clouds. No clouds.
More of a haze.
Okay.
Is that a marine layer?
Could be. 1st and 2nd, 2 down.
Mark Sweeney, what's it like getting hit down by the label?
Well, I've done that a lot. I had a lot of success with that. And when you fight in and you feel really good about your swing and you get jammed, this thumb, the top thumb, tends to hurt just a little bit.
Really bad.
See a lot of those pads that are on there?
Yeah.
I didn't like the pads, but I didn't like my thumb hurting as well. Yeah. But I had that happen a lot.
And those bone bruises can stay with you a long time,
They can,
right?
actually. They do. Usually happens in spring training because your swing is not necessarily honed in. But it does, and it stays with you all throughout the year.
Holt at second base, Bogarts at first, 2 down here in the 4th inning. Swing and a miss, and Edwin Jackson with a big strikeout of Hanley Ramirez. Nicely done. 6 Ks down for Jackson. 3.5 in the books without a score from San Diego. But after a couple of different rain delays trying to get this game in, the perfect game down at Petco, JetBlue Park, and then the sprinklers go off right in the middle like they haven't had enough of a delay. How about that?
see. You know what? I remember one time up in Vancouver. In fact, John Farrell and I were teammates.
Really?
Up at Nat Bailey Stadium. The outfield sprinkler went off.
Just trying to get a rain out?
No, but you know what I did? I was in the bullpen at the time.
Yeah.
I ran down there, and you know how with your foot you can push them down?
Yeah.
I went out there, and I pushed it down, and I kind of waved to the infield, kind of say, okay, go ahead, carry on.
We're good? We can play?
People were just laughing. And then they eventually went off.
So you were teammates with John Farrell, manager of the Red Sox and Vancouver, is that what you said?
Vancouver,
yeah.
BC. AAA for the Angels at the time.
Bogarts at shortstop, going to take care of Solarte for the first out here of the 4th inning. What kind of pitcher was John in his time?
John had a good fastball, breaking ball. He had Tommy John surgery one time. I remember the one thing that sticks out. He said he used to ice his elbow after every start. When he had Tommy John surgery, his arm never hurt him after that. He never iced after that.
It's incredible.
Isn't it, though?
Man who battled cancer is right around this time last year when he was battling it. And was able to beat it. And back again, having a very good season with the Red Sox, of course, at the helm of the 2013 championship Red Sox.
Because I know you've talked to him as well. Didn't he say he had 6 months of chemo within 8 weeks? Or something like that?
It was extremely aggressive chemotherapy. It had to be.
Unbelievable.
And basically, he had a hernia. They went in to fix the hernia, and they found the cancer.
Wow.
And he was very fortunate that he had the hernia. I mean, that sounds strange.
Right.
But had he not, I mean, the tumors would have expanded greatly, and he would have had no idea. He had 0 symptoms. And when he got checked out, I remember walking down the hall with him, as we talked about today, before the game in Miami, the day he found out.
Yeah.
To left, Brock Holt is there, and he'll put it away. So Derek Norris, solid contact, but right at the Red Sox left fielder.
I talked to John before the game, and I knew the answer, but I wanted to hear from him. I said, since battling cancer, has that changed your perspective on life? And he just giggled. He goes, absolutely, no question about it. He goes, think about it. I've went through what I went with cancer, and he kind of chuckled at this. He goes, and I'm managing in a market where they want my head on a stick every day.
Every day.
But you know what? Hey, I think of the things I'm grateful for in life, and that kind of smooths everything out.
Exactly right. And he has been through a lot, and this is all in perspective now, I think, for him. On the ground up the middle, diving Pedroia can't get it. And Dickerson aboard for the 4th Padres hit of the day.
Oh, lefty on lefty, Mark Sweeney. It looks like Alex Dickerson. I really like his swing, and short and quick with that curveball.
I do too, because it's not necessarily a violent swing, but he has a lot of power in those hands. A lot of people will talk about the strong hands from Alex Dickerson, but this is a good matchup today. Left on left, it's the fastball away, curveball, and he reacted well on that pitch.
2 down, Dickerson at first, and it brings up Adam Rosales. Rosales singled to center field in the 2nd inning.
You know, Mud, you talked about John Farrell and the teammate, and I got to spend a little bit of time with him in Vancouver as well, and he had an instant presence to him that you just realized he was going to be in the game. He was going to continue to do whatever he wanted to do in the game, and he just had that sense that you wanted to sit down and talk to him about not only on the field but off the field and how you prepare. As a younger player in that system, to have a veteran presence that did everything already. He already started, he was a relief pitcher, and you knew after his career he was going to be successful. So you wanted to try to take as much as you could from John, and he always lent those messages that were very important as a younger player. Plus he had the humor.
Great
humor
sense of
element,
humor.
which is really funny.
Short lead at first for Dickerson. Pomeranz looking at him. Now Rosales hits one high and deep to left. Holt back at the wall, and he will leap, and it is gone. Adam Rosales will sprint his way around the bases as the Padres have taken a 2-0 lead. A 2-out, 2-run home run for Adam Rosales.
looking for the old number 1, middle in. Where's this pitch on contact? Right at the belt buckle, and a great effort out in left field by Holt.
Well, Brock was pretty close.
That was a great effort.
Yeah, similar play up in Los Angeles yesterday with Dickerson in left field in Los Angeles.
Got to battle the fan a little bit.
Got to have to. A lot of hands there trying to wish that ball into their paws.
Curveball missing that time. Brock Holt tried to time the leap. Good bid, but Adam Rosales with his 9th round tripper of the year. Oswaldo Arcia ahead of the count, 2-0. And a ground ball down to Hanley Ramirez. He'll gather it himself, tag the bag, and end the inning, but the damage has been done. Adam Rosales to the 2-run home run has given the Padres a 2-0 lead. And sprint he will. Giving the Padres a 2-0 advantage over the Red Sox as we move to the top of the 5th inning. All of it coming with 2 down in the inning and a big home run for Rosales. So he's headed into the shift, as are the Padres here on the right side, in preparation of Jackie Bradley Jr. coming up, and hopefully Edwin Jackson can continue this run. We're talking about the Bees of Boston. Betts, Bogarts, and Bradley, the combination, all young, all good, and very good numbers on the year. And of course, all were right here for the All-Star game at Petco Park in San Diego.
You know, another interesting story is Jackie Bradley Jr. And last year even was talked about of possibly being dealt from Boston because of his struggles. And he has made some really good adjustments in the batter's box, especially. We already know defensively he's one of the top defenders in the game of baseball.
No doubt about that. You just waited for him to start to hit, and he finally started to last year and carried it into this year.
You know what really helps too, and you've been around this, Don, because you've seen the talent that Boston has had. When you have an impact player like David Ortiz, you're going to watch him. You're going to see how he prepares for a game, what he's doing in the batter's box, big situations. If you look at Jackie Bradley Jr., obviously not the same hitter as David Ortiz, but he's implemented the leg kick. He's got better balance at the plate, and the power numbers are starting to show up as well. You're watching a hitter in front of you be very consistent, and David Ortiz is going to help your cause as well.
That's a strike, and it's 3-1. You're talking about having a veteran guy of that kind of ilk so important in a clubhouse. I mean, it means so much.
Yeah, to me, it was Wally Joyner in '98. I got to watch him on an everyday basis. Obviously, Tony Gwynn's going to make you a better hitter because of the impact that he makes. Are you going to be the same? Obviously not.
Soft liner that'll find its way to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is aboard. It's a very wide turn at first, but he'll retrace his steps back to the bag at first.
You know, I just look at that at bat, and I want to elaborate on what Mark Sweeney was talking about too. But when I think of this Boston Red Sox team, I picture hitters like Pedroia, like Jackie Bradley Jr., like Betts. They fight pitches off very, very well. That pitch was in on him, but he got to it, he pulled it, right? To me, that's got to be a frustrating thing for an opposing pitcher. Look where this ball hits. That's down by the label, but yet he fights it off. And it just seems to be a common theme, a common thread with these Red Sox hitters. Sure, they crush the mistakes, but they fight off good pitches, and they create deep counts.
Yeah, and that's a threat, and it has everything to do with confidence and what you're bringing to the batter's box.
Moncada taking a look at a high strike.
And then to elaborate what you said about Tony and Wally, think of those two guys in the clubhouse on the field. Calm, cool, collected. I mean, those guys didn't get rattled.
Yeah. Slow heartbeat you hear all the time, and impact when the game becomes a big moment. They slow the game down. That's what the good ones do. And you see that, and why we praise David Ortiz, because of the big moments against Mariano Rivera. He's had success against him in all those impactful moments that he has brought. You always watch that as a player. You have to know where your role is, but you want an impact player to watch on an everyday basis. It helps you.
Now, to me, what David Ortiz was able to do in the postseason, to me, there's no question the greatest clutch hitter in Red Sox history is David Ortiz, with his number of clutch, not only home runs, but hits. Ball and a strike, and Moncada fouls it off. Well, Moncada has already been here to Petco Park. He was here for the Futures game as part of the All-Star festivities, and he was the MVP of the Futures game right here. That home run. So he's already got a feel for Petco Park.
Well, that had to look and feel very good for this talented switch hitter. Well, done a nice job developing this young man as well. And once he was ready, he has to make an impact on a team that's in a pennant race.
He struck out swinging in the third inning, one of the 6 strikeouts for Edwin Jackson in this game. Beautiful day, great crowd on hand for game 1 of this 3-game series. Hey, we got a cloud. There's one up to the left there.
Yeah, that might be one of those planes that
left a little cloud behind it.
A little message.
Yeah.
Says, I heart Orsillo.
Swing and a miss. And Moncada strikes out for the 2nd time today. That's 7 strikeouts for Edwin Jackson.
Well, the rookie just recently called up this weekend. How are they going to approach this kid, the switch hitter from the left side? Breaking stuff there, trying to eat up in. There's the fastball away, missing. Got him soft. Great tilt on the slider from Edwin Jackson. He threw a really good one to Hanley Ramirez to end that 4th inning for a strikeout. And that was a doozy as well.
So 1 down, Bradley at first base, and it brings up Brian Holliday. He was also a strikeout victim in the 3rd inning, and he'll take a look at strike 1. 70th pitch of the day coming up here for Edwin Jackson.
That cut fastball has been very successful today.
This is a different Edwin Jackson than we've seen the last 3 times out.
Last 3 times out, struggling with location, kind of working behind, really battling to try to work some good counts in his favor.
Back on his home mound where he has had success this year. Of course, first outing, flirted with a no-hitter. Walking lead at first for Bradley Jr. And this one is fought off foul by Holliday. How much of a difference does your home mound make, Mark Grant?
Huge. I've always been, even in the minor leagues, you always like to pitch at your home park. You get used to it. But you know what? The fields these days are so they're manicured so well, and there's specifications, right? But still, I think it's surroundings. And I think from a hitter standpoint also, Mark, Some guys like hitting certain places, but you get accustomed to your home bullpen, which is a big key, and that carries over to the mound. So I think it's the majority of guys like pitching at home.
Yeah, I think it's comfort level when it comes down to players and how much success that they've had early.
Holiday strikes out. That's 8 strikeouts for Jackson. Second time Holiday's down by way of the K.
Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon premieres tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, only on FS1.
Really good job.
Thank you.
2 down, Bradley Jr. at first base, and it brings up the pitcher's spot. And Drew Pomerantz does indeed bat. He struck out looking in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1.
Do a great job on those races.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Did you hear? He's going to analyst school.
You want to?
Really?
Yeah. I can get you.
Where do I sign up?
I can get you in for half price if you want to join us.
You'll give me a deal?
I'm in a room with Mike Blowers. Maybe we can put a rollaway in there and you can join us.
Go to analyst camp. They're going to have like
you got to have
dorms
roommates?
and stuff.
Palm Springs.
Yeah, he's going to room with Mike Blowers. It's in Palm Springs. He's going to read promos the first week. They're going to do that. Then he's going to break down pitch sequences.
And then telestrators
week
my
goodness.
Yeah.
Is he going to take his shoes off?
God, I hope not. It was the most disgusting thing. Were you watching the night that he took his shoes off? We were in Atlanta.
I watch you guys every night.
It was
It wasn't that bad.
It was so bad. He took off his shoes, and there was like this smell of like
you need to clean it up.
Salt and vinegar chips. It was so bad.
Oh my goodness!
Terrible.
I'll never eat a salt and vinegar chip again.
This will get away. And his second base goes Jackie Bradley Jr. He'll turn it, but remain there.
Why would you do that to him?
It was off, and it was immediate. I mean, it was like the second he took him off, it took over my nose.
Cut fastball that got away. Yeah. Derek just comes up a little bit right through the wickets there. And hopefully with 2 outs, Edwin Jackson here can make a pitch and leave that runner in scoring position.
Got under his shoes.
It wasn't that bad.
It was so bad.
Salt and vinegar chips.
Yes, it was immediate, but worse. I mean, like really bad.
With a hint of low tide.
Oh, it smelled like bad garbage.
Is there good garbage?
The 1-2, and Pomerantz strikes out. Edwin Jackson, a strikeout the side. He's got 9 strikeouts in the game. It's 2-0 Padres. San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Sequan Casino. Sign up for the new Padres Club Card today. By Smart Final, now at 25 stores across San Diego. And by Mercury Insurance. We're on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today. Well, it's been a great day so far for the Padres. Adam Rosales with a 2-run home run. Well-pitched game so far by Edwin Jackson. Played the last of the 5th inning with the Padres on top 2-0. A lot of fans out there today. The Tony Gwynn statue. Great day to be out there.
What a great way to spend your Labor Day at the ball yard.
Edwin Jackson leading it off, taking a hack at Pomerantz. Jackson struck out looking in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1. Dickerson had single with 2 outs in the 4th inning to set up the 2-run home run by Rosales. Drew Pomerantz with the Red Sox 2-3 with a 4.06 earned run average. Fouled off to the right, out of play. We were talking about it earlier. Mark Sweeney, it appears at the plate like Edwin Jackson's got an idea what he's doing.
Oh, he does, and he's very aggressive, but also he has a clean swing. It's not, there's not a lot of moving parts, so he has an opportunity every day, and that's the reason why Andy inserted him to pinch hit earlier in the season. Very athletic, as most pitchers are, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
They're the best athletes on the field.
That's what I heard.
Top of the order, Travis Jankowski, then Luis Sardinez. Jackson will pop it up, foul, back out of play. Nothing else. Wasting more. Drew Pomerantz pitches.
Hey, Edwin Jackson is foul pole to foul pole. He's fouling them off down the first base line. He's pulled a couple baseballs down the left field line. And there's a huge gap in left center field.
Popped up, foul, back and out of play. 70 pitches in the outing right now for Pomerantz.
And Don, you said the 2-3 record with Drew Pomerantz early in his Red Sox career. Too many pitches. 100 pitches right around the 5th inning.
He loses Edwin Jackson. So a leadoff walk to the pitcher. 2nd walk given up by Pomerantz. Time now to check out the Bill Howe plays of the game, and it's a couple of bunt singles for Travis Jankowski. Not 1, but 2. 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd. He's also mixed in a stolen base, his 30th of the year.
Well, that's pretty impressive for Travis Jankowski, but they've wanted to have him implement that bunting into his arsenal. In the last 2 days, he has shown that he can do that.
Just trying to find a way to get him on base, because when he gets on base, he can change a game.
Yep.
Well, it changes the game, not only him getting into scoring position, but also what you can look for if you're hitting behind him. You can start honing in on that fastball count.
Showing bunt again and taking a strike this time, outside corner. Jankowski confirming with Tony Randazzo, the home plate umpire.
It's a nice little nugget there. 2nd most in Major League Baseball. 9 bunt hits.
Good pitch right at the bottom of the zone, and it's 0-2. Lefty-righty splits for Jankowski this year. Certainly trouble with lefties. Today he's got a couple of hits, but both bunt singles. That was the reason he hit down in the order, facing 2 lefties against the Dodgers over the weekend. This will get away, but no advance for Jackson at first base.
Well, that's what Travis Jankowski has to do if he wants to be that everyday guy. He has proven that. Obviously, 30 stolen bases will give you that opportunity. But you don't want to be a platoon player. When it comes down to you have that opportunity to seize an everyday job. Travis Jankowski has shown very well, but that has to improve against the left-handers.
In the dirt again, smothered by Holiday. Look at the beautiful confines of Petco Park in San Diego. Site of this Labor Day matchup. Red Sox Padres, 5th inning. And a foul down the left field line out of play. Jankowski protecting the plate.
You know, guys, watching Travis Jankowski on the road trip, I think a lot of his struggles come from foul balls. And when he's been hot, he's hitting early in the count, going the other way. But that's what happens when you struggle as a hitter. You foul those pitches off that you really should be putting in play.
Yeah, he's got to work on with 2 strikes too. 120 average with 2 strikes for Travis.
To left field, Holt on the move, still going back to make the catch. Shy of the track, plants and fires back inward, but Jankowski is out number 1 as Jackson back to the bag at first.
Well, when he was a Padre, we talked a lot about his curveball. Very unorthodox way of throwing it. Yeah, he'll get guys to buckle with it. He'll throw it to righties, he'll throw it to lefties, but it's also, as we mentioned earlier, throwing it early for strikes because he has the ability to throw it for a strike early and then he could bounce it, trust his catcher to expand the zone with 2 strikes.
So 1 out, Jackson at first base, and it brings up Luis Sardinez from over top. Right-handed hitting shortstop for the Padres. He'll take strike 1. Sardinez has done the same thing twice. That's fly out to center field. And Jackie Bradley Jr. Bradley playing in a step or 2 towards left center. He'll take strike 2. Let's look at what he's done today, Arsenal-wise.
Fastball almost 60%, the curveball, and very few changeups. So pretty much 2 pitches. And like Mark Sweeney says, if he's having difficulty with one of those, you just eliminate it. Look for the other one.
Check swing. He went around. Home plate umpire Tony Randazzo rings up Sardinez. Tried to hold up, could not. And that is the 3rd strikeout of the day for Pomeranz.
Oh yeah, he went.
You already had him going early?
Yeah, he definitely went.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think he went.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Randazzo with the right call. 2 down here in the 5th inning brings up Will Myers. Myers has grounded out to 3rd, lined out to 2nd. 0 for 2. Here's a guy who played behind Pomeranz and was also an All-Star with Pomeranz at the All-Star game, representing the San Diego Padres. Well, how much did you pay attention to your pitchers on your team and what they did?
It's interesting because you think it's going to transfer and you're going to know his style and know things. It really has everything to do with what comes out of his hand and seeing that release point. You might have an advantage of sometimes with tendencies, but you're locked in defensively behind him, watching what the hitters are doing, not what he's executing so much.
So it may not have helped him, is what you're saying.
I don't think so. It really doesn't transfer too much, and you have that element of, hey man, he was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get past.
And you know what? On the flip side of that, a guy like Tony Gwynn, he was a guy who would keep track and know what his, like Ed Whitson or Tim Lawler or Bruce Hurst, he would be in the outfield. He would know what sequences and how the guy he was playing with on the mound knew how to set up hitters.
Because I think there was too much,
You
people leaving.
Yeah.
They were leaving San Diego and going somewhere else. He wasn't.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But Tony did a lot of film work, a lot of study, and breaking that down. But yeah, I don't know if it's a huge advantage when it comes down to it.
Oh, they couldn't locate the baseball right away, but he did. And no advance at first base for Jackson. Well, promising beginning to this inning with Jackson, the number 9 man and pitcher, walking. But since then, Jankowski's lined out to left. Sardinez has struck out. And Myers in a battle here. Deuces are wild on the scoreboard and left. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Padres on top, 2-0. And a foul back again. So Myers, a good battle.
When you get that high fastball, and you said it earlier in the game, Mark, when you get that high fastball, then the breaking ball comes off of that. That's when Drew Pomeranz is at his best.
Heavy workload in the second for Pomeranz, and 22 after that last toss.
Full count now. No action in either bullpen in this game. As Yangervis Solarte waits on deck for the Padres. 2 down here in the 5th. San Diego on top 2-0, trying to add on it. Trying to take advantage of their former teammate, Drew Pomeranz. Popped up, foul ground. Hanley Ramirez by the seats, will not have a play. Just out of his reach. Went as far as he could, get the knees up against the short fencing, but just out of his reach. Great crowd on hand here today for game 1 of this 3-game series. Payoff pitch and a swing and a miss. Myers strikes out on the curveball. 4th strikeout for Pomeranz through 5. 2-0 Padres. Back at Petco Park, and it has been a great day today for Edwin Jackson, who holds a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning. First time the Red Sox have been in the friendly confines of Petco Park since 2007. Edwin Jackson, 75 pitches deep, 5 shutout innings. How about 9 strikeouts along the way in the bottom 3? Moncada, Holiday, and Pomeranz. They are 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts against Edwin Jackson. Top of the Red Sox order coming up. Dustin Pedroia, Brock Holt, Xander Bogaerts.
8 of the 18 hitters that Jackson has faced, he's had an 0-2 count on. So that's telling you something. The reason behind his success this afternoon.
Pedroia 0 for 2. He struck out swinging in the 1st, grounded out to 3rd base in the 4th inning. Drops it in, strike 1 on a curveball. 325 average on the year for Pedroia. On the ground, off the glove of Jackson. They kicks out to Rosales, and they get Pedroia. So kind of a deflection that time on the way by. And that'll go 1-4 to 3 for the first out. And Pedroia 0 for 3 in the top spot of the order.
Knocked it down just a little bit.
There's Brock Holt and a base hit in the fourth inning, a single to center. One of the 3 hits allowed today by Edwin Jackson. Spins Holt out of the box. Edwin Jackson, at one time an American League All-Star. Remember the Tigers was in the All-Star game back in 2009. Well-traveled, 14-year Major League veteran. Drops in there for a strike. Another breaking ball, and it is 1-2.
Tell you what, you're living large if you throw 2 of the first 3 pitches as a pitcher over for a strike. I mean, that's exactly where you want to be in the first pitch strike category, 15 to 20.
Yeah, that puts the hitters into defense.
Back at Jackson. 2 down. Second one that has been back in his direction. One he deflected. This one he stares at the base of the hill. 2-way.
Looks like he got it in on Mark Sweeney.
Yeah, and I'm coming after that successful slider on the previous pitch. And then being able to throw that cutting action fastball in on the hands.
So 2 down brings up Xander Bogaerts. Western Metal Supply Company building filled up today. Standing room on top.
I bet you it's rocking out there at the San Diego Beach as well, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Great atmosphere here at Petco.
Xander Bogaerts will take a pitch high. Bogaerts lined out to the third baseman, Yangervis Solarte in the first, walked in the fourth. And there they are, Mark, out on the San Diego Beach.
I want to do a game from out there.
Ball and a strike. Good for you.
So you're saying no?
It's so hard. The play-by-play guy, everything is backwards.
You guys would look really cute
Watch
under
the
some
monitor.
umbrellas.
It's backwards.
Watch
like
the
right
monitor.
field's left field's right field. It's not easy. The color guy just goes out there, has hot dogs, gets fatter. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything.
Take his shoes off.
Yeah.
Whatever he
Take
wants
his
to
shoes
do.
Oh, I'd wear flip-flops out there.
Get some
Sure.
potato chips.
Let's just,
Oh, salt and vinegar chips, yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's been talking about doing
Oh,
a game
yeah,
out
you
there.
smell like roses.
Compared to you, I smell great. That and scene that we can sit in those chairs, maybe
Yeah.
it'd be better.
Side by side.
Do you know anybody that can get us out there?
I think so.
All right. Inside to Bogaerts. And it's 2-2 to Xander with 2 down here in the 6th inning. Mookie Betts waiting on deck.
Hey, you just put an umbrella out there. You and I could just sit under there and call a big league ball game. Okay.
Swing and a miss. Bogaerts chases. How about 10 strikeouts today for Edwin Jackson, who takes a 2-0 lead to the bottom of the 6th inning. Edwin Jackson in a double figures in strikeouts. 2-0 Padres. Now, Brian Dozier today, the power-hitting second baseman for the Minnesota Twins. Not one, not two, but 3 home runs today for the Twins in their battle against Kansas City. So a big day for Dozier. Kansas City, though, scoring 11 runs in that game. He's a great hitter. As Solarte leads it off here for the Padres. Solarte, Norris, and Dickerson to bat. The home half of the 6th inning. Pomeranz back out there. His pitch 90. You know, I never realized, because we don't have many of them, is that we do the look-ins of games, you know, the game breaks here in the booth. Swing and a miss for Solarte. On the road, we just throw it to you guys.
Pomeranz does that.
Yeah, and he's awesome at it. He's really good.
He should do a lot of them.
I think he should do the ones at home, personally.
He's okay.
Oh, you got overrated?
No, I'm a big. no.
You know he'll rush in here.
I'm a big fan.
You are.
Big fan of Mike Pomeranz.
Just for a second there, it sounded like you were saying
he's a modern version of Ron Burgundy.
He was wavering.
Is he a modern version of Ron Burgundy?
Yeah, I think so.
He can anchor.
So grounded foul, full count.
He can talk about sports. He's got a great sense of humor.
Good moss.
Oh, he's got great
really
moss.
good moss.
Really good moss.
Man of the people.
Payoff pitch coming up here to Solarte. Yeah, tapper back towards Pomeranz. Throws out Solarte for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. A great coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Just told you about Brian Dozier's 3 home runs today, part of a 3-for-5 day. How about Cargo? Carlos Gonzalez, 6th career grand slam. Rockies beating the Giants 6-0. And Trey Turner, Padre 3-for-4, a double, a home run, 3 RBIs. Nationals lead 6-2, 7th inning against the Braves.
Twins against those Royals. That's going to be tough, guys, right? 9.5 in the division, 4 in the wild card prior to today. That's tough to.
You're running out of time.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a lot of teams you got to jump over, too.
Yeah. Trey Turner, shortstop, outfield. He's doing a fine job in center field.
He's doing a really good job in center. He's taken to it and had a couple weeks in AAA to play center field and making an impact at the top of the order.
Well, 1 down as Norris will take a strike. Down 0-2. He is flied out to center, lined out to left. And 2 at bats today against Drew Pomeranz, guy that he caught a fair amount in the first half of the year. So if anybody on the field who should know how Pomeranz throws, it would be this guy right here.
Yes,
who got him.
This would probably be the advantage right here.
And if I'm a hitter, I'm talking to Derek Norris, right? That's one thing I wish I would have done, rather than watching shiny things in the dugout when I wasn't pitching. I wish I would have talked more, because pitchers hung together. And Mark, you probably hung with the hitters, right?
Yeah, I mean for the most part.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from the pitchers.
I would have talked more to the hitters and see what their psyche was and see what they were looking at certain hitters in certain situations.
Swung on and missed. Didn't help Norris. He strikes out. 5 strikeouts now for Pomeranz. 2 down. But here's what the Red Sox are dealing with right now at this stage of the year. Half game back of the Blue Jays because the Jays lost to the Yankees today. In the wild card, they are one of the 2 wild card spots right now. 1.5 lead in that category. The Orioles have the other wild card spot with the last month of the year to go here. We got Detroit, Houston, and New York. How about the Yankees kind of hanging around? They deal off.
Yeah.
Their
the
big
baby
3.
bombers.
Yeah. All the young guys show up. Embry and Ross warming in the pen for the Red Sox.
And the last 6 for the Red Sox are against the Yankees and the Blue Jays to finish the year.
That's the thing about all those games in the division we talked about. That's the one area where it's kind of exciting, though, going down the stretch.
Well, I like how they do that. Yes, definitely playing those division games in September.
Because you have a chance to control your own destiny. I mean, you're going head-to-head to the teams you got to beat to get there.
And that was the way the schedule was in the old days.
Yes.
Balanced schedule. September was solely your division. That was it. It was not, there maybe was one team when there was an odd number back, you know, there was some switching around or whatever. But you were playing against your division in September.
The challenge is, though, that you now have interleague play,
Right.
which has changed all that. And with the different, you get 15 in each league, you're in a situation now where you're going to have an interleague series every day.
Dodgers are going to play the Yankees on their next road trip.
Yep. Tap foul. Pomeranz up over 100 at 103. He's retired 5 in a row. Didn't go.
You would think with the success that Adam Rosales has had against Pomeranz, this might be his last hitter. Upwards of 100 pitches, usually that mark where you make decisions. We saw the double barrel in the Boston bullpen.
Embry and Ross both warming in the pen for Boston. 1-2. And it's lined to right. That's going to get down. Back to the track of the wall as Dickerson will scamper towards second. Mookie Betts gets it back in, but not before Dickerson stands at second base with a 2-out double.
I think this kid's got a pretty darn good idea, Mark Sweeney, what he's doing at the plate.
Well, you see the breaking ball, and it's elevated. And Dickerson understands that he has a really nice plan at the plate, especially today against Drew Pomeranz. Take a look at his swing on Phantom Cam. Head right on the baseball. Concentration level, see the breaking ball, it's elevated. Easy double.
Pitching change for the Red Sox. That's the day for Pomeranz.
With 2 outs, we have a pitching change while we have a moment. Hey, you on the road traveling, want to watch your Padres? Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. That's a lot of devices, bro.
It is.
Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply, of course. Visit MLB.TV for details.
You say bro?
I think you just dropped a bro on us.
I did.
Is that true?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
kind of
great.
like called an ad lib during a read, making it more personable.
This pitching change is brought to you by El Cajon Ford.
Thanks,
Embry
homie.
in the game.
Word dog.
Yeah.
Heath Embry, the right-hander, fastball, slider, breaking ball, changeup. Boy, the numbers. Lefties 365. Will be righty on righty, as Mark Sweeney alluded to. Righty's only 204.
Adam Rosales batting with Dickerson at second base. 2 down in the inning. And a pitch that's going to miss for ball 1.
A slider at 87.
Drew Pomeranz, responsible for Dickerson, is at second base. He retired 5 in a row prior to that double that chases him from the game. And the pitch count up over 100 as well. Rosales with a 2-run home run back in the 4th inning.
Oh, that pitch at the top of the strike zone. That's where Adam Rosales loves it. Just enough over Brock Holt's glove.
Well, Dickerson with his walking leadoff second. Padres would love to add some insurance here. As Hembree, taking his time, backs off. Now the pitcher in the shadows of the light bank. See the shadows being cast across the pitcher's mound. Home plate still in the bright sunshine.
Yeah, and this is when it's really difficult to pick up that rotation on the ball. That's why it makes a difference. See if these pitchers go to more of the secondary stuff.
Rosales pops it up foul, backing out of play.
Kind of got a high breaking ball there, but up just enough to work underneath it. You know, sometimes we talk about hanging breaking balls, you get crushed, but if it's just maybe 2 baseballs a little higher, you know, it's tough to get on top of that pitch. And you get away with one.
Well, Heath Hembree holding righties to a .204 average. Actually, the reason that he has come in here to face Adam Rosales with 2 outs in the 6th inning, and Alex Dickerson at second base. In the air, back at first. Hanley Ramirez in foul ground. Look out. It's going to be Pedroia takes charge and makes the catch in foul ground to end the 6th inning. Played 6, headed to the 7th, 2-0 San Diego. Time for the game summary. It's been a great day today for Edwin Jackson, the right-hander. He's been terrific as our game summary is brought to you by Harris.
You know,
racked up 10 strikeouts in this game.
You know what I really think set the tone, Don, was leading off the game. Dustin Pedroia, he had him 0-2 and went full, and then he struck him out. Okay, then he was on his way 1-2-3, a base runner to second. But the story today is Edwin Jackson's 10 home runs, the 2-run shot off the bat of Adam Rosales, and that's where we stand. Edwin Jackson is locked in. He's working very quickly, efficiently. He's thrown 86 pitches up to this point, hence because of the strikeouts, the pitch count is going to be up. But he is in what they call a groove right now.
9th time in his career he's had 10 or more strikeouts in an outing. First time since 2014. Mookie Betts leading it off 0 for 2. He'll take the curveball for strike 1. That's a pitch he's been using first a lot in the game.
You know, and I think his curveball is probably his 3rd best pitch. And when you're cruising along, it's not a bad idea to throw that pitch as a look-see pitch, as a first pitch of an at-bat, when you're going 3-4 times around.
Gives the hitter something else to think about.
Yeah, because they haven't seen it earlier in the game, and you flip one up there, and chances are it's like, whoa, they take it, hopefully it's a strike, and then you get a quick out. kind of slipped on that follow through there.
That time of the game where the base of the hill, the different landing spots, bit of a mess. A bit of a slip there at the end. 6 in a row retired by Jackson, 4 by way of the K. Mookie Betts leading it off. Hanley Ramirez and Jackie Bradley Jr.
Ooh, cut fastball just missing off the plate. It's only the 5th ball, 3-ball count for Edwin Jackson today.
Three-one pitch. And that's going to be ball 4. A leadoff walk from Mookie Betts. It's the second walk given up by Edwin Jackson in his outing on the day.
Oh, the last time up for Hanley Ramirez, there was runners at second and first and second with 2 outs. Edwin Jackson went to the slider down and away. He's been really peppering that outside corner with the cut fastball, the slider. That was a big-time pitch there with a runner in scoring position to end the 4th inning.
Well, Mookie Betts getting on base extends his on-base streak to 23 straight games now. As Hanley Ramirez stands in, a single and a strikeout.
Whoa.
Almost got hit.
Well, there's 2 Red Sox that have grounded into more than 20 double plays. Pedroia, Ortiz. And when you look at Hanley Ramirez, he's grounded into 14.
It's a separation today for Edwin Jackson, 94-74. Brad Hand, the left-hander, up in the pen now for San Diego.
We got the lefty Jackie Bradley Jr. on deck, and then the switch hitting Moncada in the hole.
Two and 0. Leadoff walk by Mookie Betts. Now the battle between Edwin Jackson and Hanley Ramirez. And Betts back to the bag. Time now for the Cholula flamethrower.
Well, we know Edwin Jackson, the veteran right-hander, get up to the mid-90s. So what's the top out today? 94, that's hot sauce. Some good hot sauce, good located hot sauce for Edwin Jackson.
Ramirez to left field and a base hit. Mookie Betts up to second base, and the Red Sox had the first 2 reach here in the 7th inning.
Well, a couple of things that a manager and a pitching coach will look at in a ball game like this. You know, Edwin Jackson, he's good for 103, 108 pitches, but coaches will look at, is he hitting his spots with the location of the fastball? Is the velocity the same on the fastball? Is there still the sharpness of the breaking ball and well located down and away? Well, falling behind and missing with the spots this inning is kind of apparent. And the Red Sox have 2 aboard.
First and second, nobody out, and Jackie Bradley Jr. grounded into a double play in the 2nd, single to center in the 5th. Strike call, high strike at that.
Infielders diving, getting dirty.
Fouled off, 0-2. Jackson, where he has been for a lot of the day, ahead here, 0-2.
9 times he's had a Boston Red Sox hitter at 0-2. 9 times.
That's at second, Ramirez at first. On the ground towards second base, Rosales to second for 1, on to first for 2, double play. Huge double play turn there by the Padres. 4-6-3 as Betts takes third base.
Well, you talk about clutch pitching from Edwin Jackson. Okay, let's watch at second base. Is the foot on the bag when Sardinius fields the ball on the feed from Rosales. Oh man, that's close, isn't it, Don?
It is. And you talk about that neighborhood play.
Yep. And I think the Red Sox may challenge this, or look at it at least. And Torey Lovullo, the bench coach.
Well, John Farrell is calling over the home plate umpire. And they are going to challenge a play at second base.
You know what I'm glad? I'm glad initially they call him out, and hopefully there's not enough evidence to overturn. Watch when the ball hits the glove. There is his foot. Look, you know what?
It's on the way off.
It looks, it's close.
It is on the way off. But is it off? And is there enough to overturn it is the question too. You know, he really didn't need to come off that quickly because as you saw, there was really not close at all at first base. So we'll see here. They're showing it on the big board here at Petco Park. John Farrell has challenged the out call at second base of Hanley Ramirez. Sardinius kind of cleared the zone pretty quickly.
You talk about a huge play.
And they've got a call. He is out. Challenge lost by the Red Sox. Double play. And Sardinia's got to feel good about that.
Oh, you think? Call stands. And Red Sox out of challenges.
So 2 down. Betts 90 feet away at third base, and Yoan Moncada coming up. Moncada 0 for 2. He has struck out swinging twice.
So Don, that tells us that it really didn't have overwhelming evidence that he was off the bag. So the call stands.
Inconclusive.
There you go.
Moncada struck out swinging in the third, again in the fifth. 2 of the 10 strikeouts for Edwin Jackson. In the dirt, knocked down by Norris. Jackson nearing 100 pitches. Next pitch will be his 99th. Andy Green would love to get him through this 7th inning. Be a real plus before turning it over to the pen. And on the grass at third is Solarte. Two and 0.
Yeah, you get it out here, and then the next inning for the Red Sox, 8, pinch hitter, and then top of the order.
And of course, the Red Sox on their bench have David Ortiz available. Drops in there for a strike. Went to the curveball to get it.
How about pitching backwards there? Remember Mark Sweeney was talking about it?
Yep. Right hand ready to go should they choose to go in that direction. He's been up for a while now. Fouled off, 2-2. So Jackson battles back here. He had fallen behind 2-0. Big double play turned by the Padres here in the 7th inning. That's at third. 2-2 to Yoán Moncada. Just away. Close pitch, full count. That's a tough pitch to take if you're Moncada.
Tried to go backdoor slider. Off the plate just a little bit, but you're right though, tough to take.
Moncada strikes out for the 3rd time today. Making 11 strikeouts for Edwin Jackson, who's pitched 7 shutout innings. Outstanding effort from the right-hander today. Padres enjoy a 2-0 lead. It's 7th inning stretch from San Diego. Sheds tomorrow's starters as it's game 2 of the series. Clay Buchholz against Paul Clemens. Clay Buchholz been in and out of the starting rotation this year for the Red Sox. And Paul Clemens going tomorrow for the Padres. It's night baseball tomorrow night. We'll get you started at 6:30 with Padres Live.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good game, pretty good matchup. And if you don't like it, tough shed.
Oh, God. As we head here to the 7th inning.
Robbie Ross Jr., 45th game for the left-hander. Boy, the strikeouts are there. Pretty decent splits as well. Fastball, curveball, slider. Kind of a drop and drive type delivery. Really gets extended. Goes from the first base side of that pitcher's plate. The Red Sox will alternate on these infield on the shift.
Garcia taking the breaking ball for a strike. Shakes his head, ducking out of the box.
Whoa, did you see that?
Yeah, when he left the box,
He
right?
kind of like hurried back into the box.
Yeah. 0-2 pitch. They were kind of yanked that time by Robbie Ross. You're not supposed to leave the box.
Right.
We haven't seen that really enforced all that much lately, though.
I haven't either.
Swing and a miss, and Arcia strikes out. Well, this rooftop shot is brought to you by Pinnacle on the Park, and what a beautiful day it is, and what a beautiful park it is.
Not a cloud in the sky.
That's right. As the San Diego Padres at home today have a 2-0 lead. Pinch hitter coming up here is Brett Wallace in the pitcher's spot with 1 out. A 96 average, 6 home runs, 20 runs batted in. And he will take strike 1. Brett Wallace, who made 33 starts at third base. Seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Hervis Solarte, of course, on the DL. Getting that kind of time at third base with the bulk of his playing time coming like this. Lifts a fly ball, shallow left. In comes Brock Holt. And Holt will put it away for out number 2 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Hey, what a great job by Edwin Jackson. I'll tell you what, my friend, that is some big league pitching right there, what we saw from Edwin.
7 shutout innings, allowing 4 hits, walked only 2, and ended up striking out 11.
Won't say ponchados.
9th time in his career, 10 or more strikeouts in a game. As Travis Jankowski will take a ball. 2 bunt singles today for Jankowski. 1 in the first, 1 in the third. Lined out to left field, and Brock Holt in the 5th inning. Now a line drive towards right center field. Incoming is Jackie Bradley Jr. Good running catch. We have finished 7 from San Diego, 2-0 Padres.
Join your Labor Day. It's a 2-0 Padres lead over the Red Sox in the top of the 8th inning. Mark and I working on Padres Live, the post-game show, which will be brought to you by Cox Communications. Really, to this point, Mark, the story of this game has to be Edwin Jackson.
Edwin Jackson's been phenomenal today, and it has a lot to do with his cutter and also slider today. And you can see the action on it. Got the Boston Red Sox hitters baffled, especially with 2 strikes. Got ahead of a lot of hitters and put them away with the slider.
Well, we mentioned it in the pregame show. Command, command, command is his issue today. He had command. He was nails, 11 strikeouts in his 7 innings of work. He leaves the ball game. The Padres have that 2-0 lead. When Mark and I see on the postgame show, Don and Mark, we're also going to hear from Andy Green, his thoughts on his starter and what he seemed to be just enough offense. Plus, taking a look at a National League West and also the National League wild card picture as a whole. So we'll see you after the final out.
All right, Mike and Mark, thanks very much. We look forward to that as the Padres send Brad Hand to the hill here for the 8th inning with a 2-0 advantage.
Oh, it's crunch time. Only 2-run lead here late. Brad Hand has been throwing the ball extremely well. 69th appearance for the left-hander. Well, the strikeouts are there approaching 100. 75 in the third innings for Brad.
Pitch hitter in Chris Young right now, and he swings away, drives one to deep left field. To the wall, and it is gone. Chris Young pitch hits, and homers here for the Red Sox. First pitch he sees from Brad Hand, he takes out of the yard. Well, the Red Sox glad to see someone other than Edwin Jackson right away.
Coming off the bench, you're going to look for that one pitch. That's the old fat one. And I tell you what, he was all over it. It might be the only good fastball that you get that at that.
Now Aaron Hill pinch hitting in the pitcher's spot, takes strike one. Veteran, of course, played in Toronto, saw him in Arizona as well. Former first-round draft choice by the Blue Jays. This is the first pinch hit home run of the year for the Red Sox, and it comes to Chris Young. Well, that'll bounce in, ball and a strike. That Hand who's been so good in some high leverage situations for the Padres. I'm not waiting around, and he takes it out of the yard. On his birthday, no less, turning 33 today, Chris Young. And a pinch hit home run to celebrate.
It's a good day at the yard, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, grab the bat. You're pinch hitting. Okay, first pitch.
Bam. And we'll try to settle down here. Now a drive the other way for Aaron Hill. Arcia going back. He leaps and can't catch it. It's off his glove. Tracking the wall. Hill will pull it up at second base. A double. So this has happened quickly. Couple of pinch hitters. Young homers. Hill doubles. Just off the glove of Arcia out there in right field.
Well, Hill taking this pitch that looks like it was inside and getting the hands through and then driving it the opposite way. Now the race is on for Arcia. Flash look. He leaps in off the pinky part of the glove there.
Hill at second base representing the tying run. Dustin Pedroia. 11-game hitting streak, does not have one today. Red Sox in this game 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Making some noise here in the 8th after nothing through the first 7 innings. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Morrow now up in the pen. Aaron Hill at second base with his walking lead. Swing and a miss. Pedroia down 1-2. Again, they get shadows cast in between the mound and the plate.
It's got to come into play. Flips up the breaking ball there. Great location down and in.
Where are the shadows?
That's what you're looking at. Yeah, bright baseball, then all of a sudden, lights out.
Changes colors on the way in. In the dirt, blocked by Norris, no advance for Hill at second base.
Well, preventing that runner going over to third base, Derek Norris has got to get down, got to get dirty. Takes it right off the glove and the chest protector.
Two balls, two strikes to Pedroia. And a soft ground ball trickles foul. Mentioned an 11-game hitting streak for Pedroia coming into this game, and this one off the plate. The walking lead off second base. 2-2 pitch on the ground, foul into the Red Sox dugout. Pedroia has struck out, grounded out on 2 occasions, 0 for 3 in the ball game. That is available should you choose to go in that direction. David Ortiz on the bench today, interleague action. Good weapon to have if you're John Farrell, especially now in a 1-run game. 2-2, and a grounder up the middle. Sardinez will range and throw to first for an out. On to third goes Hill, representing the tying run, but now with 1 out. Let's check in with Julie.
Hey guys, well the Padres are looking forward to the return of outfielder John Jay since he's been placed on the disabled list since June with that right forearm fracture. He had 3 rehab starts at Single A Elsinore, which their season ends today. Andy Green expects that he will be available off the bench tomorrow and should be in the lineup on Wednesday for the finale against Boston.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. As Mark McGuire goes over with Andy Green, the matchups here, Darren Balsley going to make a visit to the mound. Looks like Sandy Leon may pinch hit here for the Red Sox for Brock Holt. And headed out to give him the scouting report on Leon.
Well, talking to John Farrell before the game, he says that Sandy Leon is on fire. Got over 200 at-bats, so he says, you know, that's a pretty good sample size. Roughly 200 at-bats. Hit 354.
.354 with 7 homers, 29 runs batted in. Padres bring the infield in with a tying run 90 feet away for the Red Sox. Swing and a miss by Leon. Pitch down and in. Runner scoring 9 of 13 times. Runner on third, less than 2 outs. 69%. The MLB average at 50%. Ball and a strike to Leon.
Be interesting to see. You know, with that shadow, that's got to be tough. If Brad Hand would give him a fastball to hit within the zone, that one was kind of away. Might have been by design, but I'm telling you what, you know, the old spinner, the old breaking ball might be the pitch of choice. He swung at the first one in the dirt. Wasn't even close.
Fouls it off. 1-2.
There's another one. A slider.
Well, this inning started a pinch hit home run for Chris Young. Aaron Hill doubled, took third on a ground out as Pedroia grounded out to short. Tying run 90 feet away for Boston with 1 out in the 8th. Two and two. Jankowski over towards right center. Good sized gap in left center. Leon fouls off another, and the battle continues.
Boy, he's wearing out that down and in, isn't he, to Leon with the breaking ball?
We got Joe Kelly, Matt Barnes up in the pen right now for the Red Sox. Boston already into the pen. We've seen Henry and Ross for John Farrell. Swing and a miss, but it gets away from third base. Scoring will be Hill, and this game is tied. Nope, they're going to send it back to third base. So a dead ball apparently there on the strikeout, foul tip. What do we got here, Mud?
I saw the umpire throw up his hands in the air, sending the runner back. I thought the umpire called foul tip. Okay, he doesn't even, oh, it hit batsman, he's out, dead ball. I didn't see that, hit his back foot, so runner goes back, hitter is out.
Because he swung at it.
Because swung at it, strike three to hit him, dead ball.
So it's a dead ball.
Yeah, it works to the advantage of San Diego.
And
that's the right call, it's the correct
right call. No challenge here by John Farrell, doesn't have a challenge.
That's right.
So Hill remains at third base.
You know, I'm impressed that happened all so quickly. That's a good call by home plate umpire Tony Randazzo. He got it right.
Ball hits him, clearly swung at it. No contact. So on a hit batsman, it becomes a dead ball. No advance at third base for Hill. Tying run still 90 feet away. And it's ball one to Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts today is lined out to third, walked and struck out swinging. Not alone in that category, though. Edwin Jackson with 11 strikeouts in 7 shutout innings.
You don't think these bullpen guys want to save this game for Edwin Jackson?
Fouled off, and it's 1-1. A little surprised we haven't seen Buckner today.
Yeah, I was thinking along that way as well.
Had it lined up normally the way you would, 8-9, but
we saw him yesterday in LA, an inning, a hit, a couple of runs. Ryan also pitched an inning on Friday in LA. Hey, you know what I say? Manager's choice, MC, right?
Yep. And with a 1-1 pitch. And it's strike 2 to Bogaerts, right at the bottom of the zone.
There's the old slider. And watch Derek Norris stick it. Yeah, leave it right there. Bring it up a little bit. Legitimate strike, great frame job as well. See what Derek Norris puts down here. A 1-2 count. Slider.
Did he go? No. They check with Bill Miller, first base umpire. 2-2.
Oh my gosh, he went. He most definitely went, didn't he?
Looked like he did.
That's a strike.
2-2 with 2 outs here in the 8th. Outside corner for strike 3. Bogarts fires his equipment away. Brad Hand with a strikeout that ends the inning as the Red Sox leave the tying run at third base. The Padres holding on to a 2-1 advantage into the bottom of the 8th. Frustrating day for the Red Sox. A great day today so far for the Padres, especially Edwin Jackson. Outstanding effort here today. Red Sox moving on to their 4th pitcher of the day. It's Joe Kelly.
Well, the strikeouts are there with 30 and 27, but look at the walks. 21 walks. So it can get erratic.
Luis Sardinez leading it off here for the Padres. Sardinez, Myers, and Solarte anticipated. Kelly taking over for Robbie Ross Jr. when an inning with a strikeout. Ryan Hannigan has taken over in behind the dish. With Chris Young in left field now, he stays in the game after homering to cut the Padres lead in half. There's Hannigan. He was a Padre for about 5 minutes during an offseason. Traded for Will Middlebrooks. Middlebrooks coming to the Padres. Hannigan going to the Red Sox. Swing and a miss. Sardinez with a big cut there. Down 1-2. Joe Kelly's got great velocity. Last pitch at 99 miles an hour. You don't expect him. He's not a big guy.
No. Great arm speed. Blessed with good arm speed.
Former St. Louis Cardinal.
Yep.
It was part of a deal that the Red Sox obtained John Lackey going to the Cardinals. He has been up and down this year to Pawtucket. And a swing and a miss, not close. Sardinez strikes out, a little tardy on that 99-mile-an-hour fastball. 1 down to the 8th. Our game is presented in HD by Sony. And some beautiful pictures today at Petco Park on this Labor Day. Padres and Red Sox playing into the 8th.
And you talk about an important time for an insurance run. It sure would be nice here in the 8th.
Red Sox have Betts, Ramirez, and Bradley expected in the 9th inning. And you also have the possibility of David Ortiz pinch hitting, if need be, available on that bench for John Farrell. As the closer for the Padres, Brandon Maurer gets ready. The 1-0. Myers will foul it back. 1-1. What is coming up, Betts, Ramirez, and Bradley's schedule. Now we'll be dealing with. The 1-1 pitch. Fouled off to the right out of play. That was a good pitch to hit.
He had a hanger right there. And I think Will Myers is upset. That was a hanging breaking ball. The old spinner. Working underneath it just a little bit too much. Those are the ones you dream about, right?
Right there.
You wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. Should have crushed that ball.
Myers fouls it back. Piece of the fastball at 99. Look at the box score for the Padres today. Dickerson with 2, Rosales 2, Jankowski, both of his hits, bunt singles. Both the Red Sox and Padres have 6 hits each. Myers digging in here, calls for time. Red Sox playing him to go the other way. Center fielder Jackie Bradley Jr. over to right center.
He's on the deep side too, huh?
Yes, he is. On a no doubles defense here almost. Away at a hundo. 2-2. One out here, the last of the 8th. Myers now, Solarte next. On the ground towards Pedroia. He'll gather at second for the second out of the 8th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
We've seen 3 relievers now for the Red Sox, and this is an area you can get to the Red Sox. If there is a weakness on this Red Sox team, this is it. Bullpen has posted a 5.61 ERA in their last 26 games. That begins on August the 7th. 5th worst bullpen in the majors during that span. But the Padres have not been able to do anything with it so far, as the 2 runs they have off the starter Drew Pomerantz at his 5 2/3.
Yeah, and usually when your team is on the deficit side, right, you go with more of the low leverage type relievers.
Yep.
And a chance to get at them rather than with the Red Sox having the lead and going with their high leverage relievers.
Solarte today is fly to right, grounded out to short, and back to the mound. In the air down the left field line, foul. Solarte coming off a very good series against the Dodgers. Well, David Ortiz getting a bat. Maybe some more sunglasses.
Yep, got to go to my hitting glasses. The ones I was wearing earlier were my casual sunglasses.
The hangout, I'm not playing sunglasses.
Right.
This will be different. It's time to get my hitting sunglasses. Yep, those are them. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Big Poppy likes that. This one has popped up foul, backing out of play. No, that's a no-go. What we got here? Chili Davis trying to talk about matchups. David wants to talk about sunglasses. Thanks, Chili. I'm trying to pick some sunglasses out right now.
By the way, Chili Davis.
Tremendous.
Guy could hit. Great teammate. Love the Chili dog. Great guy.
And a very good hitting coach.
Yes.
No 2-pitch coming up here.
That'll be a breaking ball, huh? Down and in.
Swing and a miss. Solarte strikes out. It was indeed. We head to the 9th inning. Padres holding on to a 2-1 lead. Mauer will be on. Presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Jerome's Furniture, where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. And by your San Diego County Lexus dealers. It is on to inning number 9 here at Petco Park in San Diego. And in is the closer, Brandon Mauer.
All 7 saves and 12 opportunities. Not bad as far as the splits are concerned, and the strikeouts are certainly there. Last time that Brandon was out on that hill was against the Dodgers. Through an inning, struck out 2.
Mookie Betts to lead it off, has struck out, flied out, and walked.
That save came on Friday night in LA for his 7th save for Brandon Mauer.
Lights just went out here and now have gone back on again. Betts stepped out. Umpire called time. They are back on. Strike called. Betts, Ramirez, Bradley expected in the inning for the Red Sox. Ortiz ready. Should he be called upon? As Mauer falls behind, 3-1. Betts has already walked today. And he lines one to left. Back goes Dickerson. He will have room, and he makes the catch in front of the warning track. First out of the 9th. So Betts got the good hitter's count, and it's a fly ball out to left. Time now for our Carl's Jr. star of the game. And how about Edwin Jackson today, bud?
Oh, he was great. Right from the get-go, I think he really set the tone when he struck out Dustin Pedroia after going ahead 0-2, then 3-2, and then he found a groove. He gave up a hit in the second, in the fourth, the fifth, and the seventh. Not a lot of pressure, not a lot of stressful situations. And after all told, 11 strikeouts for the veteran right-hander.
Hanley Ramirez with a swing and a foul tip for strike one. Ramirez singling in the second, struck out in the fourth, singled in the seventh. Check swing grounder softly towards short. Sardinez races in and throws late, gets away. It'll be backed up though, and is running over as Myers to pick it up. Hanley Ramirez has an infield hit, kind of a check swing, swing, and a base hit to short.
There's your check swing. Everybody's playing back. Almost like a little bunt that's placed perfectly in and around the pitcher's mound, and it works to the advantage of Hanley Ramirez.
Jackie Bradley Jr. coming up here right now. And the Red Sox fans chanting Poppy here. They want David to come out on deck, and here he comes. Strike one to Jackie Bradley Jr. Swing and a miss, and Bradley down 0-2, 96 there from Mauer.
Mauer's getting on top of that onion and just staying through it, getting a good release point down in the zone. That was some serious fuzz right there.
Bradley to chase. Swing and a miss, and Bradley strikes out. 2 down in the ninth. So it is going to come down to a Brandon Mauer, David Ortiz battle with 2 outs in the ninth inning. Big Poppy coming to the plate. Ball one, 97 from Mauer. Ortiz 2 for 6 as a pinch hitter. Popped up, foul ground, long run, headed over is Sardinez, but he will not have a play. Hands up about 3 rows deep and out of his reach. With a shift on, he had to go a very long way. Two down, ninth inning. David Ortiz pinch hitting. Padres holding on to a 2-1 advantage. Mauer trying to close the door. Ortiz lifts a fly ball down the left field line. Dickerson headed over towards the stands, will not have a play.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got power in Ortiz. You've got power in the arm of Mauer. And you know what? This is right down the middle. And still, Big Papi late on the Mauer heater.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 down, 9th inning. Ortiz lifts a fly ball to center field. Playable for Jankowski. Makes the catch and the Padres win. Brandon Mauer able to close it out as the Padres hold on to win.
Well, this is what it's all about, getting down to the last out of the game. Power versus power, mano y mano. The strength of Brandon Mauer is the fastball. Ortiz, yeah, he can turn it around, but he's showing that he's late. What is he doing? Consistently fastballs away, keeps him in the yard, and everybody's going home happy if you're a Padre fan.
Great day today for Edwin Jackson as well. Tremendous as in 3 hours and 1 minute. Padres hold on and win. What's in store, Mike Pomerantz?
Well, we're going to hear from Andy Green, his thoughts on the job his bullpen did in support of Edwin Jackson as well. And we're going to check out the National League wild card race. We'll see you in moments.